Very good morning. Good morning. We have parallel sessions today, mathematics here and unplugged there. Let us start with the first presentation, which was remaining from yesterday's one of the session on physical computing. Mr. Muhammad Ayub, Tajmal Naseem, and Surendra Bansood from J&K. So we have a recording video for them. Can you run the video, please? Sonali? Audio. Is he present online? I am not host. Make me host, then only I will be able to share. Can you start? Play the video. I can play, but it will not be shared on Zoom because I am not host right now.
Myself, Tajmal Naseem Loan. I am working as a teacher at Higher Secondary School, Dengiwacha, Baramulla, Jammu and Kashmir. I teach biology. Besides teaching biology, I also work as the Atal Tinkering Lab in charge at school. During working in this lab, I being from the non-technical background, I felt difficulty with respect to physical computing and programming part, as it is needed to design the prototypes for different problems we solve from time to time. And this difficulty was solved by the help of PyGem Foundation, who helped me with a new idea of TOTB, think out of the box, which included a simple compass box with which included microcontroller and some sensors and a mobile phone and some paper-based blogs. We worked with the students of age group of age group 15 to 17 from classes 9th, 10th, 11th, 9th, 10th and 11th. Total 31 students were examined during the course. 12 lessons were taught to them using the TOTB kit. Before starting the actual lessons, we did a pre-test, and using in pre-test we used a rubric to assess the parameters such as access of the students, computational thinking of the students, problem solving, accessibility and empowerment. And after implementing this, we conducted the lessons.
हमारे स्कूल में एक प्यून है जिनका नाम राजू चाचा है। राजू चाचा को स्कूल में बहुत सारे काम एक ही समय पर करने होते हैं। इनमें से सबसे जरूरी काम है स्कूल की घंटी को टाइम टेबल के हिसाब से रिंग करना। पर राजू चाचा के पास काम ही इतने होते हैं, कभी कभी वो स्कूल की घंटी समय पर नहीं बजा पाते, जिसकी वजह से गड़बड़ हो जाती है। आपको यहाँ पर क्या प्रॉब्लम दिख रही है? क्या इस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करना आपके लिए जरूरी है?
After conducting the lessons successfully, we did a post-test survey, and we draw some inferences that what was the impact of these lessons. The impact was that the percentage of the female students feeling most confident with electronics rose by 35%. The students exhibiting creative expression through technology increased by 50%. Following the intervention, over 70% of female and more than 50% of male students could identify community-related problems. According to the pre-test and post-test, we saw 37.39% positive shift in the students' problem-solving ability and a 7.05% positive shift in the computational thinking ability of the students.
Is he present online? Is he present online? Okay, shall we begin with the next presentation? Can we have that podium here? Okay, can we have that podium put up here? Can I have this podium here? Okay, we'll have the next presenter, Shilpa Modani from Dr. Kalmadi Shamrao High School, primary section. Have a video for presentation for Shilpa. 8 minutes, 7 to 8 minutes. That is the pointer. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shilpa Modani, and I'm a computer teacher at KHS Primary. The topic I selected was combinations, how combination help us to solve few problems. Ma'am, next please. We can move on to the next slide. I took this topic for standard 4 and the strength of the class was 45 students. Next slide please. The learning objectives or the activities I took was how different combinations can be formed, and with the help of that, how they can solve the problem solving, and it will promote critical thinking. Next slide please. The first activity that I took was treasure hunt, where I've given them the clue cards that had riddles, and in those riddles they have to identify the combination of words which will lead them to identify the place. And then they, after identifying the place, they have to go to the particular place. Another clue will be given by the teacher, and they have to find the treasure. So this is how the problem was breakdown. The class divided themselves. I did not divide the class. They divided themselves amongst them. Each group got a riddle and they had to find the combination of words. Reaching to the place, they will again when they get the clue from the teacher. So it's like it's a group of 5. So they have to diversify themselves to different places, and it's not like each group will go in one direction and search. When they get the clue from the teacher, they have to divide themselves to the various corners of the place, and then they have to find the treasure. Once they have found the treasure, they have to come together to the classroom. It's not like one of the member of the group have found the treasure and he will or she will run to the class. They have to collect the group members together and come back to the class. Next slide. Okay, thank you. So the first riddle was, it has million stories but cannot tell them. A place that has lot of knowledge, a place where you can silence. The combination of words, stories, knowledge and silence led them to the place library. In the second one, paper, scissors, glue, crafty projects, sketch and draw. These combination led them to the room, art and craft. Monitors, web, windows, keys, type, code and draw. This led to them to the computer lab. So this is how they were given the riddles. So, can you please play the video on the bottom? It's not playing. Maybe 1 second, ma'am. This video. It's not playing. Yeah, it is embedded in the slide. Though I'll show the videos later on. There's some problem in playing the videos, so I'll play the videos in the end. In the video, actually, the child is just trying to elaborate how they came up with the combination and the solution. Ma'am, it's okay. We can go back to the slides. Another activity was a hypothetical story was built where the group of friends go in a jungle for jungle safari. After some time, they find out that one of their friends is lost. And after searching, they find that the friend is chained up and there's a number lock on top of it. And the solution for releasing the friend is you have to find the least even number combination from the numbers 1, 2 and 3. This has to be done with the stipulated time of 2 minutes. This is how they broke down the problem. They got the possible combinations of 1, 2, 3. So there are 6 combinations, out of which they have selected the even number combination of 1, 3, 2 and 3, 1, 2. Out of that, the least even number combination is 132. Now the difficult task was how to place those numbers. You can either put it from top to bottom, then only the lock will get open. But sometimes the children get impatient. There were 2 groups who were doing it. One was able to do it patiently, so they were able to put it 1, 2, 3. While the other one, they were so impatient that they took out the combination, but still they were trying to frame it from bottom to top. So they were not able to finish it on time. But after a particular guidance, they were able to open it. But another group was able to do the entire activity in 2 minutes. So this is how actually the target is blocked with that screen. Here, this group was not able to open it because they were not able to put the combination in proper line, whereas this group were able to do it and they were able to open the chain. This was just a little token of appreciation to the children who won the game. How I came up with the variation, KHS Primary, we always, throughout a year, we settle down on a theme. And this year's theme was problem solving. So rather than just teaching combinations with chalk and board, we thought let's do it with problem solving theme and came up with these 2 types of variations. Challenges I faced, yes, some children were not able to finish it on time, whereas impatience, that is the main thing with smaller children. Level 1 questions for the basic below average or maybe average children, what were the different combinations of colors they can make, how you can combine notes and coins to make payments, how you make fruit salad with combination of 3 fruits, and for the above average, it is how can you combine letters and numbers for making exclusive passwords. how do you combinations work for creating vehicle numbers, and how combinations work for creating mobile numbers. Now these were the assignments that I gave. The first one was, you have a choice of 3 different fruits and 2 different snacks. How many different snack combinations can you make by choosing 2 fruit and 1 snack? Another one was, there are 5 sets of colors. You have to choose only 3 blocks and you have to make different combinations out of it. Last one was, you can read only 3 books in an hour. So you have an option of 5 books. So how many different combination of books you can make to read in an hour? This is how the children came up with the line method. The tree diagram, this is what we teach in combinations, the various methods. Line diagram, then tree diagram. So this is how they all came up with. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Any question? Any question? Yeah. So I think that's an interesting way. The treasure hunt is always an interesting way to do that. Thank you. We have another presentation. Kiwi Soni, Lubena Sheikh, Hema Nair, and Mansi Parab from City Pride School.
A zestful morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are the math teachers of City Pride Group of Schools, and we are here to share our best practices adopting the fragments of computational thinking in our classroom teaching, thereby taking you all on the journey from diagnostic to competitive. Hope you all are geared up for the same. Now, from past few years, From the past few years, we math teachers have come across different challenges that we have observed in our students, and we have jotted down these problems, which includes math anxiety. Children become anxious while solving math problems. It also includes careless reading. Students copy down wrong questions and create mistakes while solving the calculation-based questions, especially the 4 arithmetic operations. It also includes comprehension of word problems as they cannot pick the right keywords, and overall problem-solving skills are at stake. So, we have chunked out the problem and aligned it with solution. But before that, I would like to throw a light on something very interesting. At every level of education, we expect our students to meet with a minimum level of competency. But we here at City Pride School believe that it is not just the students' responsibility to meet up to those expectations, but also the teacher's accountability to make sure that every student in her class is well versed with a particular concept. And that is how we define the minimum responsibility topics, wherein all the teachers from across, suppose I'm a 4th grade teacher, I'll sit with 3rd and 5th standard teacher, will map all the basic topics which are required in the current grade and in the grades that come after. Now, there are certain topics which might be important, but it's okay if the child is not holding dexterity over the topics which fall under the non-responsibility topics. So this is how we come up with the minimum responsibility. Now, how do we ensure that our students are well versed with these concepts? That is the reason we have these 4 strategies adopted, which includes the diagnostic tests, followed by the analysis report, through which the students are referred for remediation. Then there is this third-party assessment, which is an amalgamation of AI tools in our teaching learning practices. To further elaborate with our best practices, I would like to invite Ms. Kiwi. Thank you so much.
Dear educators, so do you believe we are doctors also? We are doctors, yes. Why? Because as doctors treat the patients with a particular disease, similarly teachers also treat the students who have multiple intelligence level under a same roof. But for that, we have to go one step further. We have variations in the students. And so, here we cater to all the three segments: VAK, visual, auditory, and kinesthetics. For visual, we have used computational thinking as extra marks, teach next. For auditory, we play musical chair, wherein the entire number system is taught in that way. We can use musical chair in mathematics in many other ways also. And for kinesthetic, we have mathematical relay race. So all these things we have already experimented in our school. Now, coming next, these are the in medical term, we say these are the diseases our patients usually suffer with. But in terms of teaching, we come to the conceptual understandings, a major problem amongst the children, problem-solving skills, math anxiety, lack of application skills, and misconceptions and error. Now, let us see the medicines which we give for this. For conceptual understanding, we go for remediation technique after the analysis report is with us. Then for problem solving skills, we do have very specified worksheets, Khan Academy assignments. Again, we use the computational thinking there. For math anxiety, we go for wonderful math lab activities, art integration projects, and for the lack of application skills and misconceptions and errors, we have open doors. So this caters to all the segments. Suppose Khan Academy will cater to the from the lowest to open door, catering to the highest. More light will be thrown on this by Ms. Dubnashi.
Good morning, everyone. So my friends have already thrown some light about it. So I'll explain you and take you to the journey as how and what and why do we do that. So abstraction. So let me go into some details like what is diagnostic test. So before we start with our next class, for example, grade 5, we make sure that all the students from grade 4 completes the minimal responsibility that they have to learn in that particular class. So we are really not fine that the children who doesn't want to study a 4-digit division with a 3-digit division should be made compelled for solving the same. So we are absolutely fine if the child knows perfectly a 2-digit by 1-digit. So that is all about knowing the proper concept. So diagnostic test is taken once in a year at the beginning. Then we have Khan Academy. This is a very good platform and it is open platform for everybody where we have allotted 1 period per week for every class from grade 3 to 6. So we take these children to the computer labs. We have generated their passwords ID and it is free, so every child can do it on themselves as well. So this question order is a way like nobody will have a math fear. So everybody will get a question in a way where they will be confident enough to solve it in their own way. Let's go with the third one, open door assessment. Now, as you can see, open door is an assessment for the challenging and extremely intelligent children because these question arises in a form of critical thinking. So we are again okay with those children that they are not able to solve these questions. This assessment is in every term 2 assessments wherein one is learning and other is relearning. So some math fun that we had done was remediation, as my co has already explained you for the same. We have different math lab activity, hands-on activities as well. Learning walls. Now what is learning walls? I hope everybody here in the maths teacher might be knowing about the same. AI tools in learning. Flipped classroom, wherein if I feel that the chapter is related to 3D figures or something, we know that children are well versed about it. So we give some videos wherein child learn about it previously and then come back to the class. And Business City. This was a major event that we conducted last year where children was allowed to make profit, real profit of money, where they displayed their games, where they displayed their food items, and we had a very big and good program for the same. Algorithm, I call upon Hima Miss for the same.
So good morning everyone.
as explained by my colleagues. So we can see that this all are going in a loop which help us to systematically identify and address the student needs in mathematics, which leads to improvement in their performance. Going with the details of the breakdown, first it is defining the minimum responsibility. It establish a clear baseline competency which we have from all the grade level, and diagnostic analysis. Every year in the beginning, as told by my colleagues, every year in the beginning we conduct the diagnostic exam to know the teaching learning process. And next we have identification of students with the different needs. Through the result of diagnostic test, it understands the students' proficiency and understanding of that. And by the giving the remediation, it helps to know that where the basic means, where the in which area the students are facing difficulties. And with the help of the third party, as explained by that, by using the Khan Academy and Open Door, we have seen that children from low level, they are coming from that using with the Khan Academy. It helped them to solve the assignment, and we have seen that all the assignment and assessments are customized and ensure that every child is solving that. And then moving to that by encouraging and supporting the children to participate more in competitive exam. So here we can ensure that the schools say that every students get a maximum opportunity to solve, maximum opportunity in their mathematics, and they can build their confidence of that. Yeah, so here is the performance report. So when we started in 2021, we have seen that number of students in the D grade was 166, and number of students in C1, C2 were 10, and B1, B2 were 4. So gradually when we started in 2021, when we moved to 2022, the grade we can see and the number of children are increasing in the grade wise. In 2023, it was a drastic change, and we in some stage we have turned up with that successful that many children have shifted from C1 to C2 and B1 and B2. So it was a complete, I mean to say that complete analysis of all the teachers, and with the help of the student, we have made this result. So we have done with some videos over here, which I can show afterwards. So through this impact, I can say that the diagnostic has proved to find the teaching learning gaps, and through remediation, it helped the bridging those gaps. And students who score E grade have now come into C1 and C2, and the participation of competitive exams have increased significantly, and the result over the period has been outstanding. So these all are the reports which we have conducted for diagnostic, Open Door and Khan Academy. So these are the classroom stories by each of the students, how they enjoy the Khan Academy, Open Door, their different views for that. And the photos where we conduct the different activities on the this in Max Lab. So I hope in some way we have reached from our abstract diagnostic to competitive. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good teamwork. Any question? Comments?
So you have compared this diagnosis with the hospital thing, right? So for hospital, it seems like we are treating children as they come up with problems, so we are here to provide the solution. But do you think that the children also has the ability, which is something to be assessed in all these things, right? So I would like to know your thoughts on it.
Not necessarily that when we have a problem, then only we go to hospital. We go for a regular checkup also. And in that case, what happens, the doctor always asks for a supplement, a diet, to keep ourselves maintained. It is not about comparing with the doctor and the hospital. Let's not stick to, yes. Now, when we say diagnostic, it is like first, whenever we get the lot of children in our hand, we see where is there any problematic areas first. That is for the minimum basic level. Then we see, is anyone gifted? And for them, we have this competitive. For them, we have the Open Doors. Open Door is a kind of exam wherein it's all application based. Nothing theoretical, nothing, when we go for this basic understanding and all. No, it's all about creativity. So such children who are already gifted, we increase them to one further step ahead to fetch that competitive attitude and struggle outside also. So we believe in every child is unique. And so from the basic level to the highest level, every child should be pulled up one step ahead. So this is how we go. Sir. Sir had a doubt.
Can I quickly pass on, please?
Good morning. I was really happy about that minimum bar that you have said.
Responsibility,
Yes,
yeah.
minimum responsibility. Madam, I had a query in that ma'am, there are certain topics that have been taught at an early age. For example, the topic of time and work.
Yes.
That is usually introduced in schools in grade 5 and in grade 6. But that topic is not at all relevant in grade 7, 8, 9.
Yes.
Not even in 10th, 11, but during some competitive exams, such as students who like to appear for foreign education from India, they do usually have this topic time and work that is there in the competitive exam. Also, certain entrance exam in India as well. If I, to be very specific, if I point out, there are certain exams of SSB that are for officer level. They have this topic of time and work. So, ma'am, like as you have said that there are certain topics that we just cover up so that the students can, appear for the next examination or for the next grade. But then these topics, when left behind at a very early age, it is very difficult to teach students those topics again. So how do we bridge up this gap?
So I would like to answer for this. So as I told you that our diagnostic is a minimal responsibility that we do. So we have actually mapped each and every standard ka syllabus for mathematics. So if there are teachers here related to maths, we have seen that fractions and division of decimals is covered in grade 5, whereas it is not required for a grade 5 child. But it is been covered directly into grade 7. There is an entire gap of 1 year into that grade of 6. So what we have done is we have completely cut off multiplication and division of fractions in grade 5, and we are covering it in grade 6. Now what are the things happening here? Grade 5 students appear for scholarship exams,
Yes.
where it is required. So actually they are gifted and they don't need to be studied. So we have a different coach for the same, and they take those kind of competitive training for them. So here everybody have that confidence that yes, when the teacher in my class is teaching me, I'm going to answer the same. Now you have questioned me about time. So tell me, till date, in fact this question is for every maths teacher here, do you still have a confusion with analyzing and understanding duration of time? What would be the duration of this date to this date? Or when will be the train coming back? I mean, it doesn't need. What time is 12 p.m. to 24 hours to 12? So what is the minimal responsibility we take it? And yes, definitely, after 9th standard, we don't have any scope. They are just going to do the things that are in the textbook. We cannot freshen them up. So we do this remediation part till grade 8, wherein they lack for each and every basic concepts. And competitive side by side, we have the coachings in our school taken for competitives as well.
We have in-house trainings for basic, like whatever you said, like work and time. It is not needed for basic. It's not needed for basic curriculum. But then, when a child who goes out for competitive exam is very much needed, and so for that we have in-house training for those gifted children. So we cater through remediation also, and we cater through in-house training also.
I would add on to this. Actually, we have some NRI children in our school which have just recently joined, and we happen to teach tables to them, and I have asked her the table for 26, and she stood and she told me, Miss, we don't have even need to learn tables when we know a multiplication of 1 digit to 1 digit. It makes no sense because a child multiplies those things. So it was very clear about the same. But yes, we know that it is important for multiples and factors, so we teach in India.
The digits should be in the mind. So we should know, looking at the number only, we should know, ki, acha, I had seen this in this table. So only till 20, I believe.
Okay, and madam, one thing that I would like to add up, I'm so sorry. But then, ma'am, again, this is one thing that I personally believe, that mathematics is more of a tool than a subject. Mathematics, that is what we understand. It is something that is used to develop one's logic rather than to teach a particular subject that has been over there.
True.
So, ma'am, somewhere or the other, that I do believe that, again, certain concepts you said, that multiplication of decimals, that has not been given in the
I mean, there is a curriculum and there are competencies defined, Yeah. So I think during we have a lot of breaks.
Yes,
you can carry on, and the team is so enthusiastic. They have a lot of things to speak. So of course, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. We have next presenter, Manjiri Ambevadikar from Dr. Kalmadi Shamrao High School.
Good morning. I am Manjiri Ambevadikar from Dr. Kalmadi Shamrao High School, Ganesh Nagar, Pune. Okay. The title of my abstract is The Use of Elements of Computational Thinking to Help Remedial Children Understand Addition of Like and Unlike Fraction. Our school has 1,500 students enrolled across grade 5 to grade 10. Our 10 teachers are involved in CT and 2 periods per week allotted for CT. This is my content flow. Remedial program. Students with grade gaps of 2 or more years qualify for remedial program. These grade gaps are identified by literacy and numeracy assessment conducted by special educators. Approximately 4% children qualify for remedial program due to identified grade gaps. Special educators and few school teachers work together to provide them extra guidance. This is about our remedial program. Next. Now fractions. The topic of fraction is taught from grade 4 onwards with increasing content and complexity. Initially, many children find this topic challenging, but they overcome it by repeated drill and practice. But we observe that remedial level children were not able to solve problems based on fractions after using techniques like cross multiplication method, LCM method, etc. So we use pictorial representation method. Decomposition of the problem. We started with basic pictorial representation of fractions using color blocks and papers. For example, pictorial representation of fraction half is shown here. Like fractions. Working on like fractions where denominators are equal is considerably easier than unlike fractions. When we add like fractions, we add only numerators and denominators remains the same. However, we observe that remedial level children were adding denominators too. To overcome this misconception, we ask them to visualize addition of like fractions. May I request you all to close your eyes and try to visualize addition 1/4 plus 2/4. Okay, open your eyes. Now tell me how many of you visualize two different objects, one for 1/4 and another for 2/4? As remedial children also visualize 1/4 and 2/4 as two different objects, it was needed to address this. So we asked them to observe this pictorial representation. Our one whole is divided into 4 equal parts. One part is shaded to represent fraction 1/4. This is our 1/4. Now to add 2/4 to it, we shaded 2 more parts from the same one whole. And now 3 parts are shaded out of 4 equal parts. So the answer is 3/4. To reinforce this concept, we conducted paper folding activity. This is the video actually, but we'll proceed. So this was done with few more examples so that the concept of not using denominator was drilled into them. Then this learning further extended to observe operations on unlike fractions. Let us do, we asked children to observe pictorial representation of fraction 2 upon 5 plus 1 upon 2. This is our one whole. We divided this one whole horizontally into 5 equal parts. Means there are 5 rows. This is representation of 2 upon 5 as 2 rows are colored shaded with red color. Now we need to add 1 upon 2 to it. Correct? For doing so, we ask children, now divide this same whole vertically. Means there are 2 columns now. And to represent 1 upon 2, we need to color one column, one whole column shown by arrow, correct? So we colored 3 parts with green color, but 2 parts of the same column are occupied already with red color. So we use 2 unoccupied parts. Now our same whole is divided into 10 equal parts, out of which 9 parts are shaded. So the answer is 9 upon 10. Here children observe the pattern of dividing figure first horizontally and then vertically. They also observe the pattern of shading figure. Correct? I will like to add on here that you can observe here equivalent fractions also, but I am not explaining that due to time constraint. So, to reinforce this concept, we continued with paper folding activity. So, I have video also, but we'll conduct here. This is our one whole. We are going to add 1 upon 3 and 1 upon 4. Now, to represent 1 upon 3, we need to fold this paper horizontally in 3 equal parts like this. Now, to represent 1 upon 3, we shade one part. Okay, this is our representation of 1 upon 3. Now, to add 1 upon 4, we need to fold same paper into 4 equal parts. Now our paper is folded into 4 equal parts. It has 4 columns. To represent 1 upon 4, we need to shade one whole column out of 4 equal columns. But we'll shade this one. But this is already occupied. So we'll use one unoccupied part. So can you tell me what is the answer? How many total parts are there now? 12. Out of 12, 7 parts are shaded. So what is the answer? 7 upon 12. This is paper folding activity. We'll proceed. Video of paper folding activity. This is students' work done by students. Limitation. This activity has some limitations. The scope of this activity is limited to addition operation. Addition of unlike fractions can lead to the answers which are not always in the simplest form or could be improper fractions also. So these are limitations. Impact. Though we conducted this activity for remedial children only, you can conduct it for inclusive classroom also. This activity is helpful to build concept of fractions. Pictorial representation makes learning more effective and enjoyable for visual learners. Act of doing helps reinforce concept and makes recalls easier. I refer to these websites. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I saw this nice paper folding activity with square or rectangular paper. Have you tried with other shapes like chapati, like round shapes?
Sir, when you are talking about circular shape, you must have seen I use only rectangles.
Yeah.
Because it is not easy to divide circle into equal parts. And when we talk about fractions, if parts are equal, then and then it is fraction. So practically we haven't used any other shapes because it is difficult. And for paper folding activity, we use ruled paper so that it will lead them to equal parts, equal division.
Okay.
We can.
No, ma'am, sorry to differ, but if you want to make 5 parts of circle, 5 equal parts, it is little bit difficult. We observed this. It is little bit difficult to divide circle in odd numbers.
Thank you. But the things we use in daily life are mostly circular, chapati and all. It's not rectangle, right? Thank you so much. Yeah, next one. So now we have a presentation by Chitra Birazdar, Dr. Kalmadi Shamrao High School. I think this is primary section. Acha, is there any questions? Somebody has raised the hand. They have just raised hand. For any question they have, you can check it out. And we can start.
Good morning, everyone. My presentation is integrating CT while teaching addition to grade 1 students. And in grade 1, there were 45 students I was working with. And in my school, there are 3 teachers who are involved in computational thinking. And number of periods we give for computational thinking are 2 per week. Next slide, please. I started. Yes, okay, thank you. I started with introduction of my topic. I started to make them understand how they do addition with 1-digit number. The concept was a little bit more clear to them while doing the addition, 1-digit addition. They did it using fingers. They did it by writing. All these things we did up to number of 10. We used the number tracks also to do the addition. The challenge was to implement some examples in the CET curriculum that where we give them the answer for a sum. And one of the addition number that they were not able to do the sum and they were not able to find the answer. That's where I thought I need a different method to teach them this. So like this, I taught them 5 plus 3 will be 8, 7 plus 1 also will be 8, 6 plus 2 will also lead to the answer 8. So for the same answer, I gave them different combination of numbers. This is how they were given the problem. That answer was given, they have to find the 2 numbers which will add up to the answer. We also used cutouts of color papers, then straw, spoon, earbuds, chalk, blackboard, whiteboard, sellotape, etc. Students were given the spoons in their hand and I asked straws, earbuds, I asked them to make different combination without changing the total number of the things given to them. In one hand they can take 5, let's say, straws, and in other hand they can take 4 straws. But now change the straws to different hands. Means just change the number from one hand to other. Like take the same straws, but in one hand you can take 6 straws now, and the remaining hand will have 3 straws. The total number will be the same. This is how I started with that activity. I first instructed them in the class. This is where the students are actually making different combination of the numbers using different objects given to them. Then I came up with this ice cream activity where I made the scoops of the ice cream and cone was given the number of addition total. So where they have to choose a scoop from my hand and stick it to the cone where the addition answer matches. So this is how we made 2 colorful ice creams. Here children are very enthusiastically picking up their favorite color ice cream. And they are telling me where to stick that ice cream. Here another activity I came up with to make a flower, where the flower petals were having the different combination of numbers, where they have to make a flower with the answer in the middle. So children came and picked up a favorite color petal and they placed it on the flower. So we made these 3 different colorful flowers. So this is how their concept got cleared. Then students were very much interested while after doing this activity, and they also after this activity I gave them the numbers which we started with. Again they were able to solve this activity, that 3 plus which number you will add to get the answer 11. So now the children were able to find the answer because they were not knowing the subtraction by this time. Only addition they knew. So without introducing any subtraction, I wanted to get that answer. And this is where some children did it with the use of fingers, some children did it logically. I gave them an activity to make their own flowers using a different addition number, where they will use make their own ice creams or flowers with the different combination of numbers. Here the standard 1 children came up with even the 2-digit numbers like 25. Some used 21, some used 20, some also used 12. And the children who were below average, they could only use the number 4. Like this, I got the response from children. And this is how their this problem was solved. They came up with different combination of numbers to get the same answer. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the CTS team.
Zero concept. How you can say that addition for first standard children?
Yes, they know now with the fingers. I'm showing them the fingers. I'm showing them the fingers. If all the fingers are not there, just consider this as 0.
In their flowers, petals, they will give.
Once their zeros concept is clear, they can tell 8 plus 0 is 8 only. In that petals also. The petals are not becoming 0 or 5. Here the petals are having combination of numbers.
0 with some number. Yes. 0 with some number. Yeah, 0 with some number.
I hope my point is clear.
Yeah. Thank you. We have a next presenter, Shri Kala Kurub from Dr. Kalmadi Shamrao High School Primary Section. Welcome. Shri Kala.
The next one is this one.
Good morning to one and all present here. My name is Sri Kala Kurup. I am from Dr. Kalmadi Shamrao Primary Section, Pune. Today, I'm going to present a lesson which I have conducted for grade 4 math, subject math, and topic area and perimeter through tangram. In the textbook, area and perimeter are given through figures, formulas, and through the concept of fencing. Then when I conducted this topic, I found out that many children were struggling to grasp this concept. So I thought of taking this activity through hands-on with lots of fun. Then the maths, I have included lots of maths, CT elements like algorithm, problem solving, and decomposition through this activity. Yes. For this activity, first I asked them to take out a square paper from their classwork book and ask them to measure the sides with the help of a ruler and note down in their classwork book. Later, to ask them to count the number of squares inside the paper and that also to note down in the classwork book. To make the activity more colorful, ask them to stick the same size paper over it. Then ask them to explain. Then I explained, yes. Then I asked them to make a 7-piece tangram with by folding and cutting the paper. That you can see there, they have cut, they folded, they cut the tangram, and then ask them to make any figure out of it. After that, ask them to measure the sides with the help of a ruler and note down that. So, after taking that, to make it more colorful, ask that some of the children, they exchange the pieces also. And they have made this kind of piece, the tangram, they have made it. And some of them have made it, exchange the pieces and made it like this. One side square paper and one side colorful paper. Then they have measured the sides and then note down. The same way they measure the number of squares inside and that also note down. By analyzing the data, then explained perimeter and area. By analyzing the data they collected, they understood area will not change, but perimeter will change when they change the design. So some of the variations I have done, I asked them to take out 3-piece or 5-piece tangram. And then again that decomposition was used here. And then again they got perimeter and area. They found out the same result. Perimeter will change, area will not change when they change the figure. So they found out the formula for themselves without using any formula. And here assignment, here I have asked them to make a tangram shapes and use any commercial buildings or road scene and all. They have done it for assignment. Some variations I have done, I asked the same tangram figures, I asked them to use symmetry by folding it. So they have used that and they found out that some figures have one line of symmetry, 2 or more than one line of symmetry. And then I have taken this, integrated the topic with EVS. I have taken them for a nature walk in our school garden and asked them to observe the patterns from the nature. They collected this and then they found out that some of the things in the nature also have one line of symmetry, 2 line of symmetry, and they grouped them and then they found out that they have done the sorting and then they found out the line of symmetry and also symmetrical figures also. And the challenges which I have faced in this are by measuring the sides with the help of a ruler was challenging for them. So for that, some of the children, they volunteered themselves. They came out and they helped their friends to measure the sides. So peer learning also happened there, and some of them did not bring the material, so they share the material. So sharing and caring also happened here, and some of them have found out difficulty in finding the area and perimeter after explanation also. Some of the children have used graph paper instead of square paper. So it was easy for them to find out the area. And here I realized that this method gave them a spatial perception, orientation in space, experiencing space and understanding the spatial relationship. The students learned multiple concepts through this one activity, that is area, perimeter, symmetry they have learned, line of symmetry they have learned, and they have used correct output by choosing these things, and they easily relate with Lego game, and they have learned 2D, 3D shapes also. And children thoroughly enjoyed this activity by learning through Tangram. So thank you, CS Pathshala, for giving me an opportunity, and my mentor, Miss Janagi Ghosh. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Shrikala. Any comments, questions?
Ma'am, just wanted to know, when the kids were making these tangrams, were they, so you talked about line of symmetry also.
Yes.
Were they able to observe patterns of, like the area of the triangle was half of the area of the square? Like in the tangram design, there is across the diagonal there is a line. No, when the square is broken down into the 7 pieces.
Yes.
So there is one line along the diagonal.
Yes.
Right. So that is the triangle,
yes,
and that is exactly half of the square.
Right.
So I'm just curious, were they able to observe these, or maybe were questions like these were also posed up?
Properties of the shapes also were explained first, and then the line of symmetry they could find out that also.
Okay. And one more question. So you talked about that there could be shapes which have the same area, but different perimeter.
Right.
So I was very surprised when I learned that there could be shapes which have same perimeter but different area. So
Yes,
I don't know.
Different measures, and then sometimes it happens different objects they make it, and then they count out, and then it happens.
Okay. I'm just curious if we can. I don't know if it can happen, but if using the tangram shapes only, we can make something which has the same perimeter but a different area. I'm just curious to do that, but maybe we can explore on this web.
Yes.
No. I'm just saying, if tangrams is being used, so if we can don't use the same number of pieces.
Same area but different perimeter.
Yeah, but vice versa. We can try that. I'm not sure if it will work, but less number of pieces maybe. I don't know.
That's great. I mean, that kind of inquiry is expected in mathematics class.
We can do it.
Yes, why not?
So the concept is the same, but you could just use quadrilaterals, right, or a rectangle and a square, and ask them to create different rectangles that will give them the same perimeter, that is their constraint, and calculate the area. I find that this works also well. So it's just, and then you can also find out which is the quadrilateral that gives you the largest area as a thought process.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Shrikala. We have another presenters online, Vaishnavi Thakre and Prachi from Prachi Zhade from School of Scholarship, Yavatamala. Good work.
Today we are going to present the topic under the theme City in Mathematical Practices. In the grade 7, the CT module 05 LCR01 and 05 LCR02 was conducted to make children learn how to approach the problems involving arrangement of various input by systematic listing and counting. To use systematic listing approach in mathematical class, in subject enrichment activity, students were given activity to frame all possible linear equations using the number 2, 4, 6, the variable x and the bracket along with an arithmetic operation. Now while framing, students understood that because it is a linear equation, they have to choose variable x. So they started framing linear equation by systematically with variable x and one variable. For example, x is equals to 2, x is equals to 4, x is equals to 6. Another approach they had chosen is that with one variable x, they took two numbers together using arithmetic operations. For example, x plus 2 is equals to 4, x plus 4 is equals to 2, 4x is equals to 2, x by 4 is equals to 2, and so on. After that, next children thought of framing all possible linear equation with one variable. Three numbers without bracket like we have 2x plus 4 is equals to 6, 2x minus 4 is equals to 6 and so on. They also tried with bracket like 2 into the bracket x plus 4 is equals to 6, 2 into the bracket x minus 6 is equals to 4 and so on. Here students not only framed the linear equation but also solved them. In this systematic approach they have taken to frame all the possible linear equation using the number 2, 4, 6, the variable x and the bracket. Now here we have the next activity. In this activity, students explored linear equation using GeoGebra. In this activity, students were asked to type the equation which they have framed in GeoGebra input. Now here, students observe that the geometrical representation of all those linear equations in one variable is a straight line. They have also observed that all the equations in variable x are parallel to y-axis. After that, teacher asks them to take the variable y in place of x on the GeoGebra for the equation they have framed. The student observed that the equation in variable y are parallel to the x-axis. So here what we have seen is pattern recognition and generalization, that the graph of linear equation are parallel to either x-axis or y-axis.
Next activity was puzzle. When this puzzle was given, students observed and had a discussion in groups. After the classroom discussion, students came up with different approaches to solve the puzzle. Some of them started solving with the second equation. They thought to solve the equation by putting two same values and one different value, like 10, 10 and 6. But if they put it in first equation, it is not satisfied. So here we can say that students are eliminating unnecessary information. So here we can say that abstraction is used. But at the same time, one of the group tried by taking the third equation. Then they observed that there are two same blue bees and one different yellow bee. And they thought, how will I get 7 when I add two same things and one different thing? So can I do 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 and keep the yellow bee as 3? And then putting the yellow bee's value as 3 in equation 2. Then the yellow duck will have the value as 20. And then if I put this 20 in equation 1, yes, I will get it as 60. Again, some students had a different approach, as 3 yellow color bees is equal to 60. So when we divide it by 3, we get each yellow color bee as 20. Some of them tried assigning the yellow color bee by a variable x. So they have solved the given puzzle by taking different possibilities. Some of them have solved by having an algebraic approach, some of them tried with trial and error method, some of them even tried with observation based. So here, students are using multiple approaches to solve the problem. And here, more such problems were given to students for solving. So here we can say that student has approached the problem by breaking down a complex puzzle into simpler, more manageable parts. So here's how the decomposition is applied in the context of solving puzzles. As they have solved this in group, they have shared how they have solved the puzzle. This is what we call it as mathematical communication and collaboration. Now, these are few glimpses of pictorial puzzles, which are framed by the students on their own using different symbols. According to NCF, for children, problem posing as well as problem solving are two critical steps in learning mathematics. Besides promoting problem solving abilities in children, they should be encouraged to pose problems. And we try to fulfill these two objectives of NCF through integrating CT in mathematical practices.
Now here we have the impact. Student experienced to frame various linear equations using systematic approach of counting combination. Student framed different linear equations on their own and were delighted to solve by breaking down a complex problem into more manageable steps. Most important, student used different approach to solve the problem by having an algebraic approach, by observation based, and some of them tried with a trial and error method. And even they were excited to frame their own question. Using GeoGebra, students were able to identify pattern and visualize graphical representation of linear equation. Here, abstract concept becomes simple and students were able to use different approaches to frame and solve linear equations. So here, we can say that the CT skill, decomposition, abstraction, communication and collaboration with reasoning is applied in context of solving puzzle. Thank you everyone.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Any question? They are present there online. If you have any comments, questions. Okay. Thank you. We have next presenter, Swati Ranade from School of Scholars, Chhatra Layout.
Good morning all. I am Swati Ranade from School of Scholars, Chhatra Layout, Nagpur. The topic I have chosen is leveraging computational thinking for professional development of teachers. Now, professional development is an integrated part of any education system or any organization. Better employees deliver better results, and in field of education, ma'am, how do I do it? Yes, it is not going. Better teachers deliver. Better teacher delivers better result, resulting into better student understanding. So a need for professional development was felt. And the need for professional development was felt just because the teachers can acquire better teaching skills, they will enhance their problem solving skills, their critical thinking ability and innovative skills, which entirely translates into better student understanding. Ma'am, next. It is not going, I don't know why. Yeah. Now, so through CROs, that is classroom observations, academic audits, and pedagogical approach used by the teachers, a strong need was felt that we need to have professional development and integrating CT in the teachers' teaching. So we organized a workshop for the teachers to create awareness about CT, application of CT, and collaborating it in their daily teaching learning practices in order to percolate it to the students. Now in MGS, the journey began 6 years ago of CT. And from then, we have been one of the leading schools who is promoting and encouraging use of CT in classroom teaching. However, a need was felt for deeper percolation. It is the teachers who are working at the grassroots level that they are working with the children. So if CT skills are percolated right up to the teacher who actually deal with the students, it will get translated into the students naturally. One teacher is equipped with CT skills, she can educate 40 students, minimum. Ma'am, next. So we had a workshop which was taken for all the teachers across all the subjects in the school. The scholastic as well as co-scholastic teachers were included. Many points were discussed regarding how to use CT, what is CT, the basic 4 pillars, how they can incorporate CT skills in their classroom teaching, and it was applicable for scholastic, co-scholastic, including music, dance, sports, and art teacher as well. So this was the number of teachers. This is just the glimpses. Many points were discussed. Now, there are challenges. Of course, any new thing comes with a challenge. So frequency was one of the major challenge in the capacity building program. Capacity building program cannot be a one-time process. It has to be reiterated so that the reinforcement happens at regular intervals. So this formal training set up the stage for better understanding of the CT skills. Also through monthly curriculum meets, the mapping of CT lessons with curriculum and its smooth execution were discussed. During the fortnightly departmental meetings, the challenges in implementation was also discussed. Teachers also who were actually had the fear of implementing CT, they were given confidence by demos and micro-teaching lessons, and also learning center, which is, we have learning circles, which our resource center runs. In that, the teachers shared their success stories. Also, it had the platform of new capacity building of the new teachers. We had the discussion about Bebra's challenge questions and the practical challenges which the teachers faced in their classroom. All these things were discussed. This really gave a boost to the teachers to at least try out CT. The other challenges were time constraint. Of course, for implementing CT in the classroom, it requires time because it requires children to brainstorm and then come up with their way of thinking. But then our resource center provided us with inquiry-based lesson plans, which actually provided a logical flow and integration of CT in the lesson plans itself. Resistance to change. Any new thing is very difficult to adopt for anybody. So, but through demonstrations and examples in our learning circles as well as in the HOD meets, the teachers were made quite comfortable to at least try out. Secondly, we have diverse learners in the classroom. So CT not necessarily fits everybody. Of course, they will adopt CT in some or the other time, but it cannot be like everybody adopts at the same time. But then some of the questions in inquiry-based learning, the teachers guided the students to get to the desired result, because some actually got to the result, but some needed some hand-holding. The next was the impact this is impact in terms of the teachers use CT skills in their daily teaching. It made them easy to teach difficult topics in an easy manner because it provided the logical flow of the lesson and resulted in better understanding of the students. These are some of the glimpses which teachers have displayed. This we could see through the classroom observations after the CT workshop was done. We could also observe it in their teachers' logbook, reflections, as well as in students' behavior. Now here the art teacher taught them simple patterns, and then using those patterns, the children designed a complete picture. These were the parts of the formal letter. One more impact was the number of teachers writing the abstracts for the CTI's conference increased. Not only the number of abstracts increased, but also the quality of abstracts increased as more number of abstracts got selected this year. Now the impact on teachers was it improved the problem solving skills of the teachers. It enhanced their creativity. It increased collaborative learning, and also it added to their professional growth. In terms of learning outcome, it had a seamless integration was done in the lessons. Teachers actually used, after the workshop, it gave them useful insights that they were actually using CT but without realizing it. It was unconsciously they were using it. It also enhanced their understanding, and teachers could give practical examples to the children to make them understand CT in a better way. It improved their confidence as it was easy for them to implement now. Also the lessons were more engaging as the flow was very logical. So ultimately students' understanding improved. Last but certainly not the least, the enhanced problem-solving ability of the teachers, adapting new technologies, interdisciplinary approach, creativity, constructivism, constructivist approach, collaboration and innovation made happy and engaging classrooms, which will ultimately lead to making global citizens of the world. Thank you. With this, I end my presentation. Thank you. Any questions?
She's having. Yeah. Thank you, Swati. We have next presenter coming up, Sheikh Manwar from AP Swari Schools, AP.
Good morning, everyone. This is Sheikh Munwar, working as a TGT Physical Science in AP Social Welfare Residential Schools, which is a government school. Our schools are established in 1983 for the purpose to uplift the economically backward students, and we are very honored to be the part of this platform, sharing our ideas, exchanging ideas, and to meet all the intellectual personalities over here. So our project is how the computational thinking, this is our co-author.
Good morning, everyone. This is Satyanarayana from AP Swaris, LB Charla, Andhra Pradesh, and I am working as TGT Mathematics. And now today we will show the CT to solve real everyday life situations and wall cloth hangings. My colleague Mr. Munwar will demonstrate that one. Thank you.
So how the computational thinking is used to solve the daily life problems is our project. So first of all, I am least interested in this computational thinking being a physical science teacher. I'm not at all interested. I got interest when I was in a Zoom call, some madam explaining about how to solve Sudoku. So I saw a square 9 into 9 square being solved in less than 30 seconds. I was really shocked how it was happened. So then I got interest on that. So I was also able to solve. So I understood that following each and every step of the computational thinking, the problem can be very easier. So I felt about why not we solve this, use this technique to solve the daily life problem. So I discussed it with our students to identify one of the problems in our hostel rooms. We took one of the problem. There is no space for the students drying of clothes. So the students were able to dry the clothes in the hostel room. We given the basic principles of computational thinking and gave the idea of thinking to the students, and then the students come up with the consequences that these are causing the recurrent fungal infections, unpleasant atmosphere in the hostel rooms, and the increase of mosquitoes. So it also impacts the health and hygiene of the students. Due to lack of space, drying of clothes in the playground also makes them dirty. Next slide, please, madam. We given the task to collect the data collection. The students researched about the skin infections and how these skin infections and unhygienic conditions both are interrelated. So drying of clothes in the hostel room makes unhygienic conditions, and they are causing the skin problems in the hostel room. First of all, the students decomposed the problem. Madam, next slide. So this is the project we have done. The students constructed a wall cloth hanger. So taking into consideration the different parameters, they have collected the PVC pipes which are unused from the schools. They collected those and they prepared a wall cloth hanger. Next slide, ma'am. Okay. So the students came to know the major reason for skin allergies and fungal infections, and also the available resources and unused materials from school premises they collected. So the different parameters to construct a wall cloth hanger. The students decomposed the problem. So less space to dry clothes, skin infections, unpleasant atmosphere in the room, and the mosquitoes also increased. Next. Pattern recognition. So we recognized patterns like wet cloths and unhygienic conditions causes skin problems. So there is a space constrained environment and drying of clothes in rooms. The similar problem in most Episwari schools. So this wall cloth hanger is foldable and it takes less space. This is also we considered. So this is a algorithm regarding that. So drying outside the room, the space is constrained and path becomes wet. If not drying outside the dormitory, drying in the ground makes the clothes dirty. So we have innovated a wall cloth hanger fitted outside the wall so that 10 to 15 students can dry the clothes. So we here focused mainly on the process of learning how to create interest about computational thinking in the students, not about the end result. The impact is the idea of looking into the things, the perception of the students has completely changed after introducing the computational thinking in the school. The students come up to show interest to give different puzzles, different tasks. They come up to me to allot them tasks. So it is very interesting. Personally, I also imbibe these computational thinking strategies in making lesson plans, mind mapping, and all. So finally, I also showed the video of artificial intelligence and GIS for the students and how this computational thinking is imbibed in this and how it is useful. So this is my project. Madam can. Madam, sound is there.
మెరుపై సాగరా ఆ గెలుపే నీదిరా నీ రేపటి లక్ష్యం మరువకు సోదరా నిప్పులు చిందినా ఏ పిడుగులు ఆపినా వెనకడుగే వేయక ముందుకు సాగరా నలు దిక్కులు నవ్వుతూ ఉన్నా నలుపెక్కని సూర్యుడు నువ్వై ఆ చుక్కల నేగిల దించే నీ శక్తిని యుక్తిగా చూపే నటరాజై నువ్వు రాజై నీ గెలుపే నీలో మెరుపై సాగరా ఆ గెలుపే నీదిరా నీ రేపటి లక్ష్యం మరువకు సోదరా పందెమేది అయినా నీ పట్టుదలను చూసి ఒంటరై వడకాలిరా ఆ ఓటమైన హడలి అందరికీ చేతుల్లో ఉంటుంది గీత.
Okay. Thank you everyone who has given me this opportunity. Please consider the small mistakes regarding my speech. Thank you.
These are small children studying 6th and 7th class students, and the little hands made this possible. And please give appreciation to these students with a huge round of applause.
Yeah.
And they will see this one in YouTube channel there in our school, and they will get more happy. Thank you.
Great.
Thank
great,
you, Ananda.
Great. Thank you so much. We have the last presentation coming up for this session is by Sapura Begum from B.R. Ambedkar Gurukulam, AP. It's online. It's online.
Teachers, a very pleasant evening to you all. First of all, I would like to thank the city organizers, facilitators and mentors for making me a part of the 6th Conference on Computational Thinking in Schools. And I would like to congratulate all the participants who are going to be on this stage. This is Sheikh Sapura, TGT English, and my co-author Sheikh Ajia, TGT Telugu. We are going to present a paper on computational thinking in primary education. Through this, we would like to introduce the art-integrated learning in our students. As we all know, art-integrated learning can be happen in different methods like painting, sculpting, drawing, clay modeling, craft work, origami, etc. Here we choose the clay modeling as it is a natural resource for our students. Basically, our students are from the rural background brought up by the illiterate parents. They show lack of interest in the monotonous learning like sitting with the textbooks in front of them for long hours. They are not able to concentrate in the class. Due to this, we came up with an activity that is introducing the art in the classes. This is an activity-based learning. Here the students think out of the box, which is beyond the text, to improve their ability in learnings. Experiential learning takes place. Hands-on manipulation happens with the objects. So here the students' hidden talents also can be traced out. This improves the students' thinking ability too, and fun and joyful learning takes place. And this computational literacy we introduce to our students in all the subjects, which is languages, mathematics and social sciences. So here the students prepare different objects and they are later used as equivalents in the lessons. Coming to the languages, here the students prepare different objects and through this they learn the words and different grammatical structures. And this also develops their vocabulary and communicational skills too. Coming to the mathematics, here the students develop conceptual understanding through these objects, learning numbers, shapes, various geometrical structures, and fun and learning takes place in the class. And also they can improve the sense of ability in thinking, and this improves the ability in reasoning and coding too. And coming to the science, this is sometimes a hectic and messy subject. The teacher can teach with the help of hand in hand with the objects. So here the play animation is a motivation process to the students to help them to understand the concept very easily. And also the students can learn scientific structures with these physical models. And this helps the student to explore and remember the information which is hard to write and understand. And also here we can come next to the social sciences. Here the students directly escort to the fields and they come to learn about the different types of soil like red soil, black soil, clayey and muddy, and which crop suits to that particular soil. And also students learn different geographical landforms with this process, and students learn culture and heritage of different people through this art integrated learning. And finally we had a wonderful impact on our students, and this improves their act of enthusiasm to do, to think, to learn with the physical mind and create a wonderful process in their studies. And this also helps the students to develop their communicational skills too. And this helps the student to collaborate with each other while learning and doing things. And this helps the students to think creatively, which is later used in their studies. And also this comes naturally for every student from topper to another future learner. And also this supports the child's social skills such as sharing, taking turns, enjoying and learning with other students. And this helps the student to understand the concept very easily. Coming to the conclusion, finally as a teacher, I felt very happy because students started understanding the subject, the contrasting with the object, and also the students work with their physical mind to create a wonderful things in their subject, which is very creative with their own ideas. Students feels like competent with other students, and they practice listening to the teacher too. And also they can decipher the meaning from the contemporary outworks which they have done, and they can do a wonderful unique projects in their studies. Thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Sapura. So thank you so much. Here we have finished with this presentation, and I'll call upon all presenters here for certificates. Today's presenters. Can you all come on the dais? Sheikh, can we come here? Yeah, we'll give them. Yeah, they'll get. Okay, so we break here for a tea, and sharp 11, I think we should gather here for next session. Thank you so much. They'll get all. Yeah. They'll get, it's there. Let us hand over. Sapuras is there. Sapura. Changes. Sir, you have she has requested something. Manjari, you are requesting something. Spelling is correct. Sapura and Karaji. Just write the name.